and subscribe right now, or this will be in your bed tonight.
Welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at more posts from r/ProRevenge. Before the video starts, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks. Company recruits me for senior position. Brings me to their HQ. Project gets cancelled while I'm interviewing, and I'm supposed to pay for the trip? I don't think so. Was reading a post in another subreddit regarding things that caused you to walk out of an interview, and it reminded me of this experience I had 20 plus years ago. Hope it fits here. TL. Doctor. Company flies me to their home office to interview for killer position. Job disappears during interview. They won't pay for hotel or return airfare. I resolve the issue by driving the local rental car 800 miles home. During the .com boom in the late 90s, I became somewhat well known for my expertise with a now somewhat obsolete networking technology. I ended up getting heavily recruited by a big telecom firm in Denver to run the technical side of a huge networking project they had underway. After multiple phone interviews, I was invited out for the big in-person sit-down, a 2-day affair where I met with the big dogs, other techers, bowers, etc. It was a pretty killer opportunity. Took the trip. First day of meetings went great. I felt it was a great match, etc. I did sense there was some tension between two groups over network architecture. Turned out that was one of the reasons they were bringing in someone more senior who could finalize the approach and get the project moving. That was fine. All part of the job, whatever. Got wined and dined after the first day, was definitely feeling like the job was a match and that I'd be moving to Denver. Went in the second day, and after another round of interviews the division head takes me to lunch. That's when it all blew up. While we were at lunch, the firm's senior management canned the entire project and fired every person associated with it. Apparently there was a huge internal political war going on. This project was ground zero for the big battle and this division just lost. We get back from lunch and the manager escorts me 2 hours, where we are going to sit down and go over their offer. Instead he's told what's going on and that he's out of a job along with everyone else on the project. At this point I was told to leave. No apologies, it was just shitty luck for me. WTF. Okay then, I'm gone. I get back to the hotel and there's a voicemail for me asking me to call the hour people. I'm pissed but I call. They tell me they've had to cancel my return ticket and that I'd need to pay for the hotel myself for now, but that if I would submit an expense report they might be able to get me a check. There's a second voicemail from the front desk asking me to provide a credit card for the stay, and then I get a call on my cell phone from the car rental company which I didn't answer. Turns out they also wanted my credit card. Fuck that. I called the airline and they said my reservation had indeed been cancelled, but they also acknowledged that the reservation was paid for using a fully refundable ticket, which I was holding, and which back in the 90s was essentially as good as cash. Said they wouldn't know for certain if I could board until I showed up at the counter with the physical ticket. Great. Just fucking great. I'm on the hook for several thousand in airfare, nice hotel and rental car. After taking several days of vacation from my job for this interview? I don't think so. Here's the revenge. I packed my bags and loaded up the rental car, left the keys in hotel room door, drove the rental car back to Dallas, stayed overnight in Amarillo, dropped the rental at the Hertz lot at DFW airport, took their shuttle to the terminal I'd left my car at and drove home. Over the next few months I got several nasty phone calls from their hours and accounting departments demanding I pay them back for the trip, including paying for the $700 drop-off fee for the car. Never answered them of course, just let them go to voicemail. Eventually got a demand letter from their legal department, paid an attorney a nominal fee to send them a demand for compensation / threaten a lawsuit letter. Never heard from the firm again. Side note, the ticket itself was still valid. I ended up selling it to a friend at a big discount, and he was able to use it. Don't wanna do your chores, son? Well, have fun being stuck at home. Paragraph TL. Doctor at bottom. I hope this is appropriate here. So this story deserves some context. It's actually ProRevenge that my father did to me. Backstory: after I had graduated from high school and still hadn't found my calling, my parents told me I could live with them rent free as long as I did one very important thing: helped out with the chores. Don't bring any girls or friends home after 9 PM and occasionally offer to help with the groceries for the week. The lead up, it had been about 3 months, and for the most part one was adhering to the second and third rule I was given. That all changed when I met my first adult lady friend. We'll call her Roxy, cause she was a pretty badass chick. Now Roxy was a super bad influence on me. She started getting me to stay out late, spend most of my paychecks on getting us booze and weed and such. I started slipping down a wormhole to which I almost wouldn't have returned from. My dad from time to time would remind me, "Hey son, you need to make sure you're helping with the chores, and mind throwing $50 towards groceries this week." Kinda reminders. That all changed after 3 months of being out of school and about a month and a half total of me knowing Roxy. We had come home from a concert in another city. For anyone who's my almost old fart age, it was a concert for Papa Roach, and she told me she was too tired to go home and she wanted to crash with me at my parents' home. The time, 2:30 AM. We pulled up to the driveway and I told her to be quiet. Of course she wasn't, cause it was Roxy. Soon as we step inside the house and I've just locked the door, she starts screaming the chorus line from Twisted Sisters, "We are not gonna take it," at the top of her lungs. Like clockwork, my parents' light comes on and my dad comes out of his room like a fucking cheater. A fucking cheater, I tell you. He sees us both and looks back in his room. Turning his head around, he goes, "Take her home." Now, I immediately turn around and take Roxy home. She's all pissed and tells me I should stand up to my old man. Yada yada yada. Soon as we get her home, I know I can't go home, so I stay at her apartment with her. The next morning there's a text on my phone: "Come home at your earliest convenience. Love, Dad." I know I'm dead because A, my dad never texts me, and B, if he does text me, he's more of a John Madden play-by-play kinda guy. What I mean is he's going to give you a paragraph of words for what could have been a single sentence or two. I kiss Roxy goodbye for what I'm sure is the last time I'll see another human being and head home. When I get home, he's sitting at the table with a pen and a piece of paper in front of him. He tells me to sit down and then puts the piece of paper in front of me. The paper is an actual itemized list. He tells me that for the last month and a half I haven't done any of my chores, and that he's calculated, based on the roughly 4 to 5 hours a weekend of time I wasted for him, that amounts to his pay, which was $25.00 an hour. He's a RNACA registered nurse, so he's taken 4 hours x 6 weekends x 25 per hour. Pay and figured that I need to pay him $600 for time wasted. Then he's also for good measure thrown in an extra $100 for the 2 times he's asked me to for $50 to help out towards groceries. He gets up and walks over and says there is a dotted line for me to sign stating I will pay all of this back in 1 month's time. I'm adding it all up in my head and tell him I barely $1,000 after taxes a month. He says I have thought about that before I brought a girl home at 2:30 in the morning. He tells me if I don't sign this paperwork I have 30 minutes to get my shit and get the fuck out. I legit almost start bawling and tell him that I want to sign the paper, but could I at least have a month extension? He puts his hand to his chin thinking and then looks down at me and agrees. He says, "You have 2 months to pay me $600. Oh, and by the way," he purposely hangs this in the air for a good 20 seconds. "If you don't pay and you continue to break my 3 simple rules, there will be pain in your future." He revises the contract he's wrote up on the paper and I sign it. So a month and a half goes by and I've managed to pay him $450. I haven't seen Roxy as much over the 2 months because for obvious reasons her cash pit has dried up a bit. She then calls me on day 45 and tells me that she misses me. She wishes we would hang out. Why am I working so much overtime? I've told her that I have to pay my dad back or get kicked out. Of course she ends up ending the call shortly after that, and then it happens. She texts me the next day about a show in another city. I hear all the usual, "Oh, it's a band I really like. I've been wanting to see them forever, plus I miss snuggling up to you at the concert." I somehow stupidly agree to go with her. Well, while we're up there my wallet gets stolen out of my front pocket. To this day I think Roxy did it, even though I've never been able to prove it. We go home, I drop Roxy off, and a few days go by. My dad comes knocking on my door as it's now officially day 55. He asks me do I want to pay him the last 150 or wait till the 2 months are officially up. I tell him I got him and that I'll go to the bank right now seeing as I just got paid the day before. I look around my room for my wallet, nowhere to be found. I go find the jeans I wore at the concert I was at W/Roxy, no wallet in there either. It's worth noting I had and still have a terrible habit of leaving my wallet in my jeans after I take them off and forgetting that for several days. I start panicking as I cannot find my wallet anywhere. I check everywhere, the house, the backyard, my car, I even call the last place I was at work and see if they might have it. No one's seen my wallet. I go back to my dad who's in the backyard cutting the grass and tell him what's going on. He gives me a half grin and says, "Sorry for your situation, but I'm treating you like a tenant now. Go to the bank, get my money, and when you come back and pay me the 150 we'll go from there." I haul ass to the bank and my heart about falls out of my chest as the teller tells me my account has a balance of $3.42. My heart drops to the ground. Worth noting here it was a local bank that I've banked at since I was around 13. I was 18 at the time, so they all knew me at the bank, and with some quick verification, gave me info on my account. I head back home and tell my dad what happened. He puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "AHH, that sucks. Well, you know I'm going to have to get my 150 bucks still, right?" I tell him there's no way to have the money to him in 5 days or less. He says, "Okay, well how about I drive you to work seeing as you don't have a driver's license right now." He drives me to work, to which I'm there for roughly 8 hours. The revenge: while at work my dad pulled out his massive collection of craftsman tools and proceeds to drain all the fluids in my car. He gets a buddy to come over and help completely remove my motor, my transmission and my tires. My dad and his buddy, being a ass master mechanic, manage to do all of this in a 8-hour shift of me being at work. At the end of my 8-hour shift my dad is in the parking lot waiting for me. He's in his work coveralls, which I find funny, and he's got grease all over his arms. He drives me home, and I notice my car is pulled into the garage and on jack stands. I look at my dad and ask, "What's up with my car?" He points to the garage. "Oh, go ahead and see. I've got my 150 bucks today." I jump out of the car as it goes into park and run over to my car. There's a note on the front of it from my dad's mechanic friend stating the motor, transmission and tires have all been sold to him for 150 bucks, and that he'll happily not only give me back the items, but that he'll help me install them back into my car, but that I have to work for him on my 2 days off for the next 4 weeks from 7 AM to 7 PM. I fall over crying obviously, and after my dad laughs a bit tells me my first shift starts tomorrow. It is further worth noting that my dad actually owned this vehicle and it was titled, tagged, and licensed in his name, so technically he could do whatever he wants with it. He had just chosen to allow me to use the vehicle as mine. I would spend the next 4 weeks working with my dad's mechanic friend on my days off. After 2 days of working we'd bring a few pieces of my car back to the house and he'd teach me how to put these items back together, and slowly but surely I learned out to be my very own mini DIY garage mechanic. This may not fit here, and my dad did pro-revenge me, because shortly after I lost my car Roxy dumped me, and of all things my dad took 6 months out of my life to teach me how to be a somewhat responsible adult. Oh, and the icing on the cake, soon as we had my car back together and running, my dad walked up to me and gave me an envelope with 450 bucks in it and a note that said, "Stop being a knucklehead. TL. Doctor, lived at home my parents after high school. Wouldn't help do chores, brought a girl over past their don't bring a girl home time, and wouldn't help for groceries. Dad gave me a contract to pay X amount for his time wasted. Broke the contract, so he and a mechanic buddy stripped my car to the frame almost, made me work with a mechanic friend of his to earn back all the parts and help put them back on vehicle. Ended up teaching me how to work on cars and then gave me back my money in the end." Edit. For some clarity, edit to my edit. Thank you so much for coins, the love and words of awesomeness. My dad could be tough at times, but he's always been fair. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing he ever did was unwarranted. I was for a time living rent-free as an adult and all he asked was for me to clean the bathrooms, vacuum the rooms with carpets, not bring girls/friends home all hours of the night, and help out with groceries every once in a while. As an adult I honestly deserved way worse than what I got. Hell, the adult 37-year-old me Wolder kicked my 18-year-old self in the ass and said, "GTFO out to my house you ungrateful shit." Edit to my edit to an edit. Holy rusted metal, Batman. Platinum. You sir or ma'am are far too generous. For all those curious have shown my dad this post, and being a mid-60s-year-old man who doesn't really use social media a lot, he just says things like, "Oh that's nice" or "Okay cool." Greatly appreciate the kindness and comments. Final edit. This happened in 2001/2002 time period and I've become so complacent with texting that I totally forgot it was text messages via a pager and not a phone. It even kidding, my memory inserted T-Mobile Razr flip phone into the memory and that I got the text on it, but now that someone asked I had to dig and remember that it was a Motorola pager, the one with the big screen where it could have a full text message on it. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. The funniest comment on this video will appear in the next video. Bye.